US military was equipped for conventional warfare but struggled against the guerrilla tactics employed by the Viet Cong. Knowledge of the terrain gave North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces an advantage as they used jungles, tunnels, and local support to resist American forces. Despite superior firepower, US forces faced challenges in distinguishing friend from foe, as the Viet Cong often blended in with civilian populations. This led to tragic incidents such as the Mai Lai Massacre, where US soldiers killed hundreds of unarmed Vietnamese civilians, further fueling domestic and international outrage against the war. While the war raged in Vietnam, it also created division and turmoil back home in the United States. For the first time in history, graphic images of war, including wounded soldiers, burned villages, and civilian casualties, were broadcast directly into American living rooms through television. The growing number of casualties and spiraling costs of war fueled widespread protests across the US college campuses, became hubs of anti-war activity, and public figures, including artists and religious leaders, spoke out against the war. The credibility gap between the US government's optimistic statements and the grim realities of the war led to a growing mistrust of political leaders. By the late 1960s, the Vietnam War had become a symbol of everything wrong with US foreign policy in the eyes of many Americans. This public discontent played a vital role in shaping the decisions of policymakers and the eventual de-escalation of US involvement. The costs of the Vietnam War were staggering. Over 58,000 American soldiers lost their lives, with hundreds of thousands more injured. For Vietnam, the toll was even heavier, with millions of civilians killed or displaced and vast regions of the country laid to waste. The war also inflicted psychological wounds on those who fought in it. Many American veterans returned home only to face post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, societal alienation, and a lack of government support. The war left scars not only on individuals, but also on the fabric of American society, fostering deep divisions and social unrest. The Vietnam War left an enduring impact on US foreign policy and military strategy. It exposed the limitations of military power in achieving political objectives, especially in conflicts rooted in local dynamics and ideology. Vietnam became a cautionary tale about the dangers of interventionism and the importance of understanding the cultural and historical context of a conflict before becoming involved.